I'm Chrissy from Christina with Nutrition, and today I'm making Cornish pasties, but I've roped in a helper because it's quite hard going. So some of you might know him. Come say hi, it's Woody. So check out the recipe below and let's get started. I'm going to make gluten-free pasties. Some of you might know I have to eat a gluten-free diet. So I'm doing the gluten-free ones first so that the surface doesn't get contaminated with gluten flours. So I've got gluten-free flour, xanthan gum, which you might not need. Check the packet on the gluten-free flour, it might already have it in. Salt, butter and lard. The quantities are all in the recipe, so check it out. Let's get dirty. Oh, it's really squishy. So I grated the lard in because I've heard from some people that helps with making it become more like breadcrumby. So that's what we're trying to do now. We're trying to squish it and scrunch it to form a kind of breadcrumby kind of mix. So thanks to Sir Gordon Sparks for asking the whole of Devon via BBC Radio Devon for the best pasty recipes. So we've pulled together all the best tips. Hopefully, because we've got all the best tips, then they're going to turn out amazing because I've never made pasties before. All right, that's starting to look quite breadcrumby now. I'm now going to add an egg, which you don't need to do normally, but because it's gluten-free, we need to bind it better, and a dash of water just to pull it all together. I'm just going to start with the tiniest bit of water just to make sure I'm not adding too much, because it's much easier to add more than it is to take it away. That's really coming together well, so take a look and then we can put it in the fridge and leave it till tomorrow. So that's lovely. I'm going to wrap that in some cling film and stick that in the fridge till tomorrow. Woody, it's your turn. So Woody's ready to go. He's got his cider, very important, and he's making the normal pasties. So he's got strong flour, so that's bread flour, not the normal plain flour, butter, lard and a teaspoon of salt. So check all the other quantities. Woody, it's time to get your hands dirty. So another reason why we're making pasties is because unfortunately we can't get down to Plymouth. I know pasties are from Cornwall, but there are some really amazing pasties in Plymouth, which is Devon. And yeah, so Woody's missing Devon quite a lot right now. And I am too, to be honest. So this is our little piece of the West Country right here. That's all starting to come together. Woody, do you want to show us? So now we need to add the water. Start off with half of it and then see how you go. Woody's quite strong, but this takes a lot of work, so he's saying he's a bit tired right now. Woody, keep going. The pastry's got to be kind of elastic, so it's got to really be kneaded quite a lot to get the gluten in it working, which is obviously very different from the gluten-free one, so that it can hold its shape and ultimately hold that amazing filling. Woody's added the rest of the water, so we've gone for the whole amount and he's still working it. So how long's it been? 10 minutes maybe? Looking good, Woody. All right, get that wrapped up in cling film and stick it in the fridge. If you're not doing it the next day, you just need to leave it in the fridge for about 3 hours. We'll see you tomorrow for part 2, which is the bake. So the pastry's been resting in the fridge overnight and we're ready to actually get rolling now. So I'm going first. I've chopped up all my ingredients and I think we're ready to roll. We've got potatoes, swede, onions, beef skirt, very important, has to be beef skirt for the best pasties. So that's all going in the bowl. Should have chosen a bigger bowl. Salt and pepper, 2:1 ratio of salt to pepper. I'm not measuring it, so I'm just going to guess. Mix it carefully. Use a bigger bowl than me. Don't be silly. So I think that's good. That's all mixed. So put that over there. Get some gluten-free flour. These are the gluten-free ones, remember. And sprinkle it on the surface. This could go really wrong because I've not done these before. Fingers crossed. As it turns out, gluten-free pastry is quite complicated and it's being a bit crumbly and temperamental. So I'm going to make these small pasties because I'm worried they're going to just break. Put some flour on your rolling pin. As I'm making small pasties, I'm just going to try and put it just in the middle of the pastry and not completely overfill it. I've been reliably informed that adding a knob of butter to the filling makes for a better pasty, so here we go. The moment of truth. Oh my gosh. I'm going to seal the edges with a little bit of milk. I'm not going to be able to crimp these gluten-free pasties, so Woody, you're going to have to give it your best shot. Unfortunately, the pastry is just too crumbly, so it's not going to allow me to fold it. I'm just going to press it down on the edges and I'll show you what that looks like in a minute. Okay. There needs to be at least one little hole on the top of your pasties that it doesn't explode. I've got a couple little creases where it's cracked, so I'm just going to leave it like that. The last thing I'm going to do is just brush it with some milk just to glaze it. You can use egg for that as well. Woody's getting rolling now, it's his turn. You didn't feel me put mine in the oven, Woody? Oh well. Well, mine aren't ideal, so hopefully Woody's are going to turn out way better. So that's small side plates there so that Woody has a guide for how big to make the pasties. Alright, Woody's actually cutting around the plate, which is a great template. Perfect. Oh, he's going for the hands, he's not even using a spoon. So before folding it over, he's going to use the little pastry brush and brush some milk around the edges. Oh, there he goes. It looks quite full, Woody. And Woody tells me the reason for the crust, the thing that he's crimping right now, it's a handle and it is basically to be thrown away. Well, it was in the olden days. The tin miners and the china clay miners, because they had filthy hands while they were working. Nice air hole there. Right, so we reckon about 25 minutes for the small ones, maybe 50 to 55 minutes for the big ones. Let's wait and see what happens. We had to try the pasties just to make sure they were all right, and proper job. They were great. Don't forget the butter in with the filling because it does make them more juicy. We forgot in a couple and we could tell the difference. Also, don't be scared of adding a bit of salt and pepper. You don't want to have them a bit too bland, and the kids like to dip them in tomato ketchup. So each to their own, I guess.
Mom, I want more.
See, someone will seem to like them. We've got the gluten-free ones here, which look very rough around the edges.
I'm so hungry.
They look crispy. It's very hot, careful. Look at that amazing crimping. That's the Devon crimping right there, and he's done an amazing job. So, main thing with the crimping, don't overfill them, then they'll look great. If you give this recipe a go, we'd love to see your creation. So tag me at Christina with Nutrition or hashtag bakingwithchrissy so that we can see what you get up to in the kitchen. Bye.